Okay.
And thank you for being here. First and foremost, well, I got to congratulate Coach Abel and women's soccer again for first of all his new daughter being born on Thursday and then going out and having a great victory on Friday. So hats off to him and that team and their efforts. And in terms of us, a lot accomplished in 8 practices, especially today with some of the situational stuff we did as well as the scrimmage stuff. Want to prefix it by saying if someone wasn't playing and was on the sideline or not on the field and maybe rehabbing or doing something inside, it's because they weren't available. Because of whatever it may be, they weren't available. So that's in terms of any other questions regarding those guys, that's what the answer is. But aside from that, as the guys that were there, hopefully you saw multiple personnel groupings, playing multiple guys, some different combinations on different parts of the field at linebacker, in the secondary, on the offensive line, in the defensive line. And all in all, it was the offense's day today now. I mean, it started off, see, with play number one. Play number one, it was boom, CJ hit a big one and got the offense rolling. The defense had its moments. I do carry the yellow hanky and I throw it when I need to put people in adverse situations and do some things. But for as competitive as it has been today, the offense certainly took control of most of the team periods. That being said, questions, please.
Let's go to Matt Preem, 247 Sports.
Yeah, Mario, you talked a little bit about before the scrimmage starting, seeing younger guys and see how they would handle the pressures and who could make plays. How did your freshmen, how did your underclassmen kind of perform, you feel like, in a game-like situation?
Well, they made some play. More importantly, they didn't make many mental mistakes, at least not seeing it right there, just thinking, about what we just finished up with. I didn't see many mental mistakes. Guys lined up in the right spot, ran the right routes, caught the ball when it was thrown to them for the most part, made something happen with the ball after that fact. Some of the young offensive and defensive linemen, they stepped in. They seem to be on point most of the time. Got to be more physical at the point of attack on both sides of the ball. Play with better pad level. Young linebacker Keith Brown, a really good football player. So many guys played. Watching the tape will tell us a lot, but I know there's 1,500 people out there, but that's still different than it's been for a long, long time now. You walk out there and the scoreboard's blaring and there's crowd noise and there's people cheering. It was really awesome and really, really grateful and thankful to all the people that made it out today. See, for us, that's like a 20-degree spike. We practice in the morning where it's about 50. When it's 70 degrees out there, it feels like, we're out there in 100 degrees and wherever there is 100 degrees in this world. I don't know. It's been a while for me, but it was good to have people out there. I thought the guys performed well.
Go to James Crepia, Oregonian.
Mario, your thoughts on the quarterback? Certainly seemed like Anthony had a pretty good grasp of things. Ty ripped off a pretty good streak of 10-plus yard passes, and Jay had the big one late. But your thoughts on those three, and any reason why Robbie didn't get a go during the scrimmage portion?
Yeah, Robbie tweaked his ankle on Thursday's practice during a team drill. So he got 7-on-7 work today. I believe he should have gotten at least 4 reps, 6 reps. But it was more in a tweak. Some of these linemen, they're some big old heavy dudes, man. He got stomped on pretty good. We thought we might be able to get him to go. Figured it was safe to keep him in 7-on-7. So that's why his reps were limited. Thought Anthony Brown continues to get a really good grasp of the offense and made several big plays and good decisions for the most part. A couple of those we'd like to have back in the middle of the field where, we weren't on the same page in terms of an option route. But certainly he's just progressing well. Both Jay Butterfield and I would say Ty's about as talented as a freshman as you'll see. And they made plays today. They made big plays. They made big throws. A couple were dropped. Those two are battling really hard, and so was Robbie. And you're mixing and matching those guys with 2s and 3s at receiver, at tight end, at the offensive line. They're doing well enough where we feel that they are progressing to not only make this a real competitive situation, but that they're going to help us win football games this year. So what would they like to have back? Understanding protections, 5, 6, 7-man protections are all different. Knowing where their protection is, where they're not, knowing when they got to get rid of the ball, knowing when they got to keep it, tuck it and run. Those are things that will come. But the ball, for the most part, was out on time. The decisions, for the most part, were correct in the run and the pass game. So a lot of work to do, but certainly a lot of progress.
Ryan Thorburn, register guard.
Mario, your two freshman tight ends, Terrence and Moliki. I mean, they could be in high school right now, but they look like grown men. Once they get up to speed with the playbook, do you think they could have, a real impact this year?
Without a doubt. And they knew that when they were being recruited. And I'm glad they're seeing it now. They are getting reps with just about every group, and they are really sharp. So you're looking at a couple freshmen that have grasped the playbook, that are out there performing. And the moments weren't too big. Caught the ball in traffic, broke a tackle, got up the field, lowered a shoulder, and were physical, both with the ball in their hand and when they have to block. Blocking for those guys is always going to be the hardest component of their, the way they mature and grow as a tight end. Always has been. They both gained in the area of 10 to 15 pounds of muscle. So they're stronger, they're faster, they're more physical. Big future for both those guys.
Go to Tyson Alger, the Athletic.
I mean, a similar question just about like general size. I mean, it's striking watching your receivers group just in person and just seeing just some of the bodies you have there. I saw Dante lined up or standing next to Johnny Johnson, and I thought it was Jalen next to him, and just because of the size of that. What has just kind of being able to have that variety and depth of size been able to open up for you guys this spring so far?
Well, the first thing, Johnny's still the most chiseled and ripped up dude now. Okay, we can't take that away from him. Ain't no one built like Johnny is. So number one, having those older guys has been just invaluable because of the way that they carry the culture and the way they teach and groom the younger guys. We've been putting this roster together. We've been building a team that is explosive, has a lot of size, a lot of length, playmaking ability, and their DNA has to match all those physical attributes. And it's starting to show now. You mentioned the receiver position. Yeah, it's different now. Not only are these big, long, athletic guys, these guys could run. These guys can run by people, but they could also put a foot in the ground and run an outcut as good as a smaller guy can. But at the same, we have all kinds of different shapes and sizes and skill sets at the receiver position. All those positions are interchangeable. Our formations allow us to put them in different spots and never allow a defense to track a certain guy at the same spot every time. So hats off to Coach McClendon. The guy, he does an exceptional job with those guys, and they certainly they follow suit, and they've had a really good spring.
Let's go to Kyle Kensing, Lindy's.
Yeah, Coach, kind of a general question here, but after not having a spring last year and the peculiarities of last season, has there been a sort of heightened sense of energy from what you can tell, as opposed to past springs?
Well, I think this team realized that it can be really good, and this team really appreciates the truth. It appreciates the right type of confrontation where you don't pull any punches. When you have a good day, you highlight what was good, but also highlight the room for improvement. And when you don't have good areas of play, or if you haven't upheld the cultural standards or the effort standards, you could put it right between the eyes to them and they'll respond the right way. So I love that part of it. I love the fact that this spring does highlight the fact that, you lose a lot when you don't have a spring, and it's not just the practices. You lose sight of how important repetitions are and how important the off season is. Like today, look, the weather jumped up, whatever it was, we're back at 8 degrees out here, beautiful day. Well, we've been practicing in the morning when it's 20 degrees, cooler. All of a sudden you start going 10 and 12 play drives instead of 4 and 6 play racks. You start realizing how important conditioning is, and that carries over to the off season. So I'm giving an example of how important spring is, and just a little detail, a little component of how critical it is to experience spring football to carry into the offseason.
Let's go to AJ Jacobson, Rivals.
Hey, Coach, I'm not trying to get on your good side, but to me, I felt that the execution offensive line was one of the big improvements between last season, this season. Talk about what you saw today without the benefit of having seen film yet.
I see a coach that is very demanding, that is very detail oriented, and I see a senior leadership. Well, I don't know what they are, AJ. I don't know if they're seniors, super seniors, quadruple juniors. I mean, whatever term you want to come up with them, I'm fine with. But you see a group of older players that have been here a while that they're just bought in, and they drive the process. And you have guys that are older and they're your best players and they drive the process. it's contagious, and the younger guys come along with it. So you've been to a lot of our practices over the years. You see how we start the day with the basic fundamentals under Coach Miraball's tutelage of 6-point explosion. Why? Because if you can't unlock your hips as an offensive lineman, you can't play. We continue to progress to 4-point and 2-point, because if you can't drive your heels in the ground and maintain a flat back, you ain't going to move anybody off the line of scrimmage. The principles and values of elite offensive line play and trench play are just, it's a barrage every single day of the drills and all the things that are necessary to get that. So between him and Coach Salavea, it's a war. Every single day is a battle in there, and it has allowed us to improve a ton.
James Crepia.
I wanted to ask you about some guys in the second line on defense, because you're not a program that gives out reps at any time of year just because. I mean, these guys are there and they're making plays for you. I mean, Ken was on talking about getting some of the young linebackers in and rotating a lot of them in early, other than 2 minutes, so that they get more looks other than Isaac. So whether it's Jackson or Keith, in particular, Nate, what do you see from them? And I mean, Triquez Bridges, a guy we haven't heard from much these past 2 years, makes a tackle for loss there down in the red zone. Jaden Navarrete, I think, made a TFL as well. Guys, lower down the depth chart who made plays for you today.
They sure did. I tell you one thing I really want to mention, a couple guys it's really important is, Isaac Slade today was his son's first baseball game, and credit to him for, we wanted to be there. First one, right? We've all had, our sons do stuff first, and he was able to watch his son slug 3 home runs and then get on over here and change right on the sideline, warm up, and go right to practice. Really appreciate that. That shows a lot of leadership, and at the same time, tremendous responsibility. I thought that was huge. I think the way Drew Mathis invests a lot of time, not only in himself, but helping these young guys. So when you see the guys that you mentioned, you saw Nate is an older guy, but he's getting more and more reps with those. Nate has made some plays here in games. Keith Brown, Jackson LeDuc, we haven't mentioned him, but Jackson has done an unbelievable job. Going to be a great football player, and he was thrown in there and has been thrown in there throughout the course of spring ball. Keith Brown, I mean, guy's explosive, downhill guy that's understanding now how to line up the formations, how to relate to certain receivers and drops and coverages. It was good to see Justin Flo out there today, getting some 7-on-7 work, running around in Indies, and where he's just about ready for some live ball here in a minute. So all in all, those guys deserve a ton of credit for how they're coming along, how they're pushing themselves. Triquez has just worked. He has just worked and worked and worked himself into being a really good football player. You saw it down there on the red zone, big tackle on the outside play where he came on up and got himself a TFL. I think he broke up a couple passes as well today. Long guy. You look at Triquez, he just kind of keeps going. He just goes and goes and goes. But he is a lot of credit to him for, again, just working hard and putting himself in a position where he's going to be a big-time contributor to this team.
Eric Scopel, 247 Sports.
Coach, is the plan to do another scrimmage next Saturday? And I guess it's kind of crazy to think, but we're getting down there now with the number of practices left before the spring game on the 1st. What are you kind of trying to get done in the next 15 days or so?
Yeah, we were thinking about that and talking about that yesterday. It's kind of like today, you saw the offense get a first down, but all of a sudden a mystical flag fell on the field. Well, I have like 4 of those in my pockets, and it went from 1st and 10 in the red zone to no, it's 3rd and 14. Come on back, because you got to start testing the will of your players. You got to start testing their resiliency. The playbook is phenomenal. We're going to be able to finish install probably on Tuesday, Thursday, and then reinstall for a couple more days the following week. But we need to continually challenge our guys and put them in adverse situations and see how they respond. We didn't get to do our backed up work today, but that's going to be part of it. We're going to keep working a lot of the, our personnel groups, but also making sure that whether it be ball security and turnovers, creating turnovers, some of the end of half situations, some of the formations, the unbalanced stuff that gave us problems during the year in the run game, that's going to be emphasized. But overtime situations, 11 seconds, 2 plays, to try to win the game, end of half, 2 minute, you name it, 4 minute, 2 minute, splitting the squads, going on opposite sides. All that is part of the regiment coming up this week. We've had almost 11 to 13 sessions of very critical down situation involving third downs, involving red zone football, short yardage, and goal line. So we just got to keep creating and putting our guys in, real life, real game situations and see how they respond.
Let's go Ryan Thorburn.
Mario, Jim Mastro was just saying that this is the best team chemistry since he's been here, and he was talking to you about how it might be a special team chemistry. What do you think makes it that way?
I think a lot of guys were here in 19, and some of that rubbed off, and 18 was such a different deal, so much time missed. I mean, really, it's like, it's all about the guys in the locker room, man, and these guys, they just get it. They're elevating their level of camaraderie, their level of brotherhood. They know what's real, and they know that they're surrounded by real people, that everybody's investing everything they have in it. And you could be very just direct with these guys. And when you have a team you could do that with, you can go a long way because you could keep learning and growing and pushing. So maybe those are some of the things. I don't know. I know they've had some great meals with these coaches. I know, Coach Muraball, I mean, at that house, man, they put out the best Cuban food in the community, in the city. Coach Mashro's always got the Italian food going. Coach Yates mixed bag. I think he's got one of those air fryers. I don't know, but there's just a lot of really good relationship building going on while keeping socially distant, of course. That's always key. But got to keep rolling.
Matt Preem.
2-minute drill. How do you feel like anything stand out during those sessions with your first, second, and third units?
Yeah, I want to watch again on film. I thought there was leakage with the first group, lack of conversion. Obviously, what really stood out is, come on, man, it's urgent time, right? It's the season of urgent. And from the way we got the whole process, it's on us. And to me, the best thing now when we go on Monday, we have a running camera that not only shows you play by play, but shows the actual, okay, guy was tackled over here. What are these 5 linemen doing? What is the running back doing? Are all eyes to the sideline while they're sprinting to the ball to get set and save valuable time. So we got a lot of work to do there. From an execution standpoint, obviously the 2s and the 3s got it down there, hit a big play with the 2s, missed a shot with the 3s, but ended up getting it down there, and presented them with different situations, like we did on Thursday and on Tuesday. They're all getting shots at needing a field goal, needing a touchdown, 2 minutes before the half, 2 minute end of game. So we can be a really good 2-minute offense. The quarterback's he's real good with understanding what we're trying to do and getting the ball out of his hands. He understands not to take a sack. We just got to do a better job with the whole process.
Let's go Max Torres, Ducks Digest.
Mario, earlier this week when we were talking about kind of what you'd be looking for in this scrimmage, you talked about emphasis on fundamentals and just regardless of age, having guys, come out and know how to execute football plays. How did you feel, obviously looking before film, how'd you feel about that today?
I feel there were some guys that played at a high level, but I feel like we were inconsistent overall. And I felt that leading up to this particular practices were very even. And I felt that this one, the offense started really strong, and they didn't let up. They kept throwing. They kept throwing punches and kept moving the ball, pushing the ball. They were successful in the run game. A couple times there could have been sacks too, which changes the complexion of a driver or whatnot. But I wanted to just keep playing and get plays in. So, but and then the defense did have its moments, and got the offense in third down and made some really, some good plays. But I just thought there were too many inconsistencies, and I don't want to rationalize it by saying, okay, well, but we were putting someone else in there with the ones, or, so-and-so wasn't available and we start. No, that's the standard here is whoever's in plays at that level. And those are the things that we're very direct about and that we have to do a better job coaching so we could get higher level execution on a more consistent basis. But I thought that there were some really, really high level moments out there today that we could build upon, and overall a great spring so far and a great tape to teach and learn from. So just looking forward to getting on that tape and, moving forward and getting some corrections done.
Last question today, we'll go to James Crepia.
I'll fall on this grenade. I respect that they're unavailable today, Mario. You had a couple of prominent offensive guys who weren't out there. Is the hope that they'll be able to return here before the end of spring and come back for you, or is that longer term, or can you say?
All right, James, if they weren't out there on the field playing today, if they were on the sideline or not out there, they weren't available. So we expect everybody to be ready for the season, but I appreciate you jumping on the grenade.
Coach Cristobal, thanks for your time today.
Okay. I wish James would have jumped on 2 grenades. All right, guys, have a good one.